Alright, for today's project, I'm going to go build a flat pack fire pit and give a little review of this Eastwood Mini Metal Saw I just got. Blade. A guide here for cutting along an edge. Might use that. And instructions. And that's it. Alright, so just like your typical circular saw for wood, got a stop right there. Push that down. Reverse threaded. Get the arbor off. That's not ready to rip. It's got a safety button right here. Ooh, sounds pretty good. For my first cut, I'm going to use the fence here because it's under, this is a 7-inch fence. Never mind. So it looks like the fences would be more useful for thicker stock, but for this project, not so much. We got a little bit of tool storage built in here for the Allen key. It's a nice feature. I'm going to be using this Bora straight edge. Mostly, this is more of a woodworking tool, but I think it'll work just fine here for this sheet good. Offset for that was 1 1/8 inches. Adjust the depth, cut depth here. See how that works. Definitely makes more of a mess. So everything's going smoothly until just then. Kind of veered off the track a little bit. I don't know what the deal is here, but that's binding up pretty badly. It's definitely driving itself. I'm definitely veering into the left there quite a bit. Alright. 60 degrees. Yeah. Cold cut. And this is what the finished cut looks like. Now this is me cutting, I'm cutting the notches here for the interlocking pieces, and the kerf of this blade is actually not quite as thick as this 11 gauge steel that I got. Probably double up the kerf of the blade. One thing to note is when you're trying to get into another track, the blade tends to follow the line that was already made in there. So that didn't quite work. So I'm going to try to rock it, just kind of plunge it, rock it down, see if that gets it to cut its own channel. That's not pretty. Up there. Alright. Not the prettiest, but it'll work. Alright, the second one turned out much nicer. Alright. Got some angular pieces here, so what I'm going to do is measure out to find the exact center of this piece. 10 inches, 2 inches. Perfect. I decided to change the angle, by the way. I'm not like way off the mark here or anything. Super wide. Oops. Well, more of a learning curve. Second one turned out better. So I can just throw some wood in there and I'll call it a fire pit. Pretty much as minimal fire pit you can get. The only tool I used was this Eastwood Mini Metal Saw, a straight edge, pencil, measuring tools. It's a bit crude, and you're not going to get as precise measurements as laser cutting or whatnot. But for the purpose of this project, yeah, it's great. It only took me 2 hours, about 2 hours to build this, less than that really. I'm gonna probably drill a couple holes in the bottom here for ventilation and maybe round off these corners. This Mini Metal Saw cost about $100, and I think it's really worth it. If you're gonna do any metal work, I would say this is good. The one complaint, the guard is a little chintzy. It gets in the way of the blade. I did notice that towards the end of it, the blade started to work a little harder. I think the blade is starting to dull. The ergonomics are a little weird. It being kind of modeled after an angle grinder and being compact and nice, and probably makes it pretty easy to get into compact spaces. But when using it like a circular saw, it's a little awkward holding it like that. But minor complaints. One thing to note is this thing kicks up chips. Like, things are all over the place. These are big chunks of, relatively, if you're using angle grinder, you're used to having little fine dust looking things that kick up everywhere, and I would highly recommend wearing a face shield. Like this, you might not have hot sparks coming at you, but these things carry a little more weight. There's a lot of energy getting flung off of this thing, and getting smacked in the face with these is actually, it's not very fun. They're pretty sharp, and wear some sleeves, this stuff is just gonna this stuff is like getting embedded into my everything. There's some few metal slivers. Anyways, not going to be a baby about that, but just something to note. It's a good saw. I'm going to go do a little more here, and otherwise, 2 hour project, cost me $75 in steel, and I have a lot of extra steel. If I didn't have to buy as big pieces as I did, it probably only cost me 40 50 bucks in steel, in materials. So neat little project. Thanks for watching.